Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking UWM, United Wholesale Mortgage, or GHIV. So on Friday we actually had that merger and we got some really nice volatility back into the stock. So on the short-term positions we actually cut those overall. I just didn't like the volatility and stuff was going on there. But on the long-term side of things, I really like what's going on, and we're going to watch a short video in the beginning, just like we did with the last one. We actually saw the CEO of UWM talking, and then we had the CEO of Gores Holding as well, both talking about their investments and the long-term growth of the company, and also what's going on with UWM and how they're going to keep proving to be successful. Before we get into that content, I need you to do one thing and one thing only. Hit that sub button down below, leave a thumbs up, and make sure you have those notifications turned on. Over all the videos I do, I'm doing updates consistently every single day, and as well as bringing out new videos, new stocks that I'm looking at on the long-term side of things. I haven't checked out High Tide stock video I mentioned yesterday. I recommend going and looking at it. High Tide has potential to double, triple in value. I really like what they're doing in the cannabis industry, but go check it out. Not waste any more time. Let's get started. The first thing we're gonna do is go over the video. It's about 4 or 5 minutes, so bear with me. You can skip ahead if you want, but I want to talk about what the CEO of both companies said and what they're doing. Like I said, we had the merger, so now they're working directly together, but it's really interesting to hear both of them talk. You get a good grasp of the long-term aspect and where both of their heads are at, kind of a more valued system of what the company does, UWM. So let's watch that really quick.
I want to start with you because this transaction gives you about $1 billion to deploy through both the SPAC and its corresponding PIPE. How do you plan to use that money?
Yeah, we're excited. We're spending a lot of that money and focus on technology. We have about 1,000 technology people. We'll continue to invest in technology. We have some big releases this year we're excited about, and also expanding the notoriety of the mortgage broker channel, findamortgagebroker.com, educating consumers the fastest, easiest, cheapest way to get a mortgage is through a mortgage broker. So we're going to spend a lot of money on those two things.
Alec, in the proxy that you filed last month, it said that you looked at about 40 other companies, signed NDAs with about 18 of those, and came somewhat close to acquiring 2 others, one in the sporting goods retail space, another in the medical devices space. Ultimately, you decided on United Wholesale Mortgage, which retains the title, as we mentioned, of the largest SPAC to date. Some people will look at that as a validation of the SPAC process. Others will look at that and they'll say, this makes me a little bit nervous about what's going on with SPACs right now. What can you tell them about the due diligence process you went through in order to sign this deal?
Sure. We've been doing this for a long time. We've been doing this for over 40 years. So we do a really good job, make sure we vet out our opportunities. In this case, with UWM, we have Matt as an amazing leader who's been in business for a long time, built an amazing company, has a great history of track record. So we have the luxury of looking at a lot of opportunities. In this case, we felt like it's the best opportunity by far. And again, we do very, very deep due diligence of all the stuff that we buy.
I wonder, as somebody who was early, as you point out, in doing SPACs and are up to what, number 7 or 8 at this point, when you see, I don't know, 10 SPACs priced every day, virtually this week, it seems like, what are your thoughts on the product itself and how you differentiate yourself, but sort of whether or not there's kind of a bubble here?
Yes. I mean, look, it's all a bit of an art, a bit of a science. And our job is to make sure we price this correctly, to make sure that our investors are winning. We make sure that the sellers are winning. We're all aligned. In our situation, we put a lot of skin in the game to make sure that we're aligned with our investors as well. So it's a bit of an art, a bit of a science, and it's a playbook that we have built over the last that we have done.
Yeah, and Matt, back to the business itself, of course, valuing it around 9.5 times your estimated 2021 adjusted net income. You're a large business. You've been around for 35 years. In the press release, you say that you provide through proprietary technology that enables your clients to process mortgage applications at faster speeds and provide lower rates than competitors. What does that actually mean? What's that proprietary technology that enables that faster process and lower rates?
Yeah, a lot of people talk about, hey, they're a technology company, We actually are a technology company that creates a faster, easier process, and that comes through in the lower interest rates. So if you look at the interest rates we offer consumers through our mortgage broker partners, it's lower than the averages across the country. And so that's because of our technology, our efficiencies, and we're going to continue to add to that. So, we always talk about the fastest, easiest way, cheapest way to get a mortgage is through a mortgage broker, and so we're going to continue to empower them and help those mortgage brokers throughout America continue to offer great deals for consumers and help them get a house or refinance a house whenever they're looking for it.
What would be an example of it, though? I know it's proprietary, but what would be an example of how you make the process faster?
Well, so we make it so all of the docs are obviously e-sign, click of a button, and then the borrowers don't have to go chase down tax returns and like we can all do it with our electronic technology internally. And so literally the borrowers can make the process. Nobody wants a mortgage. We run a mortgage company and no one wants a mortgage. They want a house. And so we make it so it's so simple. They can focus on the house. We can do the mortgage with using technology that we built internally, proprietary stuff, to make it so it's so simple so the consumer says, wow, is that all we got to do for a mortgage? That's pretty easy. I got to go back to this mortgage broker again.
And that speed, of course, Matt, is important so long as people want mortgages, which right now they absolutely do. There's a ton of refinancing going on. The housing market is absolutely booming. But the number one risk factor in your filing is the fact that your business is very, very dependent on the health of the U.S. residential mortgage market. So what are you seeing on the ground right now? And do you think that we're near a peak?
Yeah, so absolutely. Obviously, when lower rates are lower, everyone in the mortgage business does well. But the difference with UWM and our company is we won in the purchase market as well. And so we win in all cycles in that respect, where we're not 95% refinance business where a lot of our competitors may be. We're focused on purchase along with helping the broker channels grow. And so yes, if the market slows down a little bit, that's okay, because actually we'll gain share. Our broker channel is going to grow as more and more consumers understand you go to findamortgagebroker.com to get a mortgage, the fastest, easiest way to get one, and we're going to grow. So our pie will grow at UWM.
Alec, how long do you plan to stay an investor at UWM? Obviously, with the deal closing today, you have a bit more flexibility, but how long do you plan on holding your stock?
Well, our vision is always long-term, and I believe in Matt and his company and what he's doing. So we're here for a long time. Everything we do is about long-term vision. It's not about a short, quick profit kind of thing. So we're here to stay for.
So for the first thing I want to talk about is the Gore's Holdings, what they're doing with their investments right now. They were directly asked, are they interested in selling on the short term? Kind of a dumb gimme question. But Gore's obviously holding on the long term. This is a SPAC play. They're heavily invested. They're not going to sell the day of. Obviously the stock's up a little bit, but you know, there's no reason to sell right now. They're in there for the long haul. Most of these SPAC plays are holding for the long-term growth of the company. They believe UWM has massive potential. And then another thing I want to talk about is the proprietary system behind UWM. Now, he didn't go heavily into detail with that, but the thing I like about what they're doing is they're really gravitating and working with the market right now. They're working with the ease of use and quick system with mortgage brokers. No one wants to deal with the mortgage. First home buyers right now are really emerging in the market, and it's really easy to buy a house right now. The market is kind of booming, and I want to note, I do think it's peaking over the next year and a half. We could see that really start to drop off. Like I said in the last video, I kind of misspoke, but I think the housing market is overbought. I think we are due for a correction in the coming year or so. But with the way interest rates are floating right now, I don't see those dropping within the next year. So 2022, mid 2022 is when I start to see this really be affected. So until then, on the long-term side of things, UWM looks very, very good. They definitely seem to be focusing on the right aspects of their market and what they're doing. Another thing I want to mention as well is that UWM is doing very good on both sides of the market. You saw the CEO of UWM talking, saying that even if the market dips, they've already proven a track record to do well and continue to be profitable with their margins. That's something that's really has me bullish on them over something like Rocket Mortgage and these other companies. I know they're more commercial names, but UWM is proving to really get those rates very low. Their margin spreads really, really nice, as we mentioned in the last video. And, you know, they're really showing growth, and this was what we want in the company. If you look at Rocket Mortgage's chart, there's a large frame of consolidation. I do think Rocket Mortgage is prompted for a breakout. I think there's another housing market breakout probably coming in the near future. I think UWM has massive room for growth. Price targets on UWM will be $13 to $14 around the 6-month time frame. This is very, very possible. I don't really want to hold longer than that, though. That'd be about 20 to 30% profits overall, which is optimal for this entry. We're using this kind of to diversify the portfolio. We want to get into the housing sector. I think this is a very good way to be in it. Another thing we need to look at too, kind of ending on the talks about the company, is we're near the bottom or the basement price for SPACs, near that $10 range. I assume coming in on Monday, we might get a little bit of a dip, maybe down to $11.10, $11.20. I think the closer we get to $10 is just insane. You're really getting it at very, very low rates, honestly. That $10 is typically the basement price for SPACs. The fact that we're dipping is pretty nice and optimal for entries. Like I said, $13 to $14. We're going to get to the chart here in a second, but it has me very, very bullish on the stock. I like what we're doing. I like the CEO of UWM a lot. I like where they're focused. They show a lot of belief in the company, which is what I really like to see. And they're focused to really create it fast, simple, and really get those margins lower for the customer, and then also get those margins higher for their end is very, very profitable. I like what they're doing. Lots of growth of what I'm seeing here. Let's get to the charts. Okay, so one thing I hate with these SPACs is when they transfer over, you can't really look at the chart on the whole side of things, especially on TradingView, which it really does suck. As you can see, the day we had on Friday was extremely volatile. This is literally just a 1 day period. We went from 11.88 down to 11.15, back to $12, and then we kind of trending now. So I like where we're at though. I think the volatility is going to die down a little bit, so you should feel pretty good about your longer term positions in the stock. I like what's going on. I want to see us get above the VWAP. We don't really have any statistics right now to really look at the volume and how it's kicking in and out. It looks like it's dying down a little bit, but this is the 15-minute chart, and we don't have enough time. I want to see us get back above this $12 range. If we can recapture this $12 range up here, let me get a horizontal line for you guys. If we can just hold above that 1188 range, 1190, 1188, I'll be pretty confident in the stock. Now we're sitting at 1138. I would like to see some short-term movement. Like I said, I do think we get a little bit of a push down in the open, and then I would like to see some short-term movement to that 1150, 1160 range. Like I said, Rocket Mortgage has been consolidating for some time now. We can actually take a look at that chart really quick. So as we look at Rocket Mortgage, you can see we've been consolidating almost since the 31st of December in this price range of $20 down to like $19.30. So about $1 price range that we're kind of just bouncing back and forth. And typically when we get this type of action, it's queuing for a breakout. Now, UWM and Rocket Mortgage are essentially in the same sector. So I assume when we get a breakout on this Rocket Mortgage, which I do think is going to happen very soon, we want to see a breakout of that $20.30 and then mount and then get a push up. Now, I might be trading options on this fairly soon. But on UWM, this shows real potential because this whole market is kind of consolidating. I think people want to see what's happening. And I think Biden's very bullish for the housing market just because what he's doing with evictions and not allowing people to be kicked out of their homes. I think this is kind of a very liberal standpoint, but I like what's going on with the housing market. I think it stays afloat for at least another year. Shows a lot of promise. I think we have a really solid leader in the housing market. In consensus, though, what we want to see in the short term, maybe the next week or so, we want to see getting above the 1150 mark. This is all we want to see. Can we get some action above this level? Because if we can get some action pushing back into this range and maybe getting some consolidation here, there's no doubt in my mind that we push back to that $12 range. I think right now, if you're in it and you're long haul, just owning stock, you're overall fine. Now, if you got in around that $14, $13 push that we had a while back, I'd be a little bit concerned. But entering right now, I love it overall since I made my last video. I know we were at that 11.7 range when I made the video. We got a little bit of push down. I did sell my short-term positions just because I didn't like what was going on with the volatility. But the long-term aspect of the stock, I love it in the portfolio. It adds a lot of diversification to what we're doing. A lot of people are asking me if GHIV is a buy or UWM, is a buy. I like it where it's at right now. Like I said, though, I think this sector of the market is consolidating and we have a lot of room to go up. Consolidation is typically very bullish and we want to see a volume breakout in this sector. So I'm going to be watching heavily the volume that we get on UWM. Also, we want to see some sideways movement to that 1140 to 1150 range. With consolidation in the coming 2-3 weeks, I could suspect another breakout to the upside. I love what I'm seeing here. And I think there's more upside. UWM in that video showed a lot of promise. That's what I really liked from them. The CEO answered all the questions very strongly and gave great answers. I love everything that he said. He talked about technology a little bit too much, like he was kind of a little bit of a boomer.
Okay, boomer.
I liked what he said. And then the CEO of Gore Holdings showed that they're a long-term investor in the company. He believes in the CEO of UWM. That's what we like to see in a long-term investment. I see a lot of growth. Short-term targets, $13 to $14. This is over the next 6 months. That'd be 25 to 30% gains. That's what we want to see here. This isn't really a doubler for me. I'm just holding on the shorter term. I like to diversify into this position. Have a good one, guys. Hope you get some analysis. This is just a diversification play for me. I want to be in the housing market, and maybe we do see a boom to $15 or we see some massive volume kicking in. I'll make another video. I'll have a lot of updates coming in on this stock, but make sure you have those notifications turned on down below because I'm posting videos every single day for you guys. Have a good one. Namaste.